Hi everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another royal news video. So for those of you that don't follow me on Twitter, I'm going to give you a bit of a personal update here. I'm not in a good state at the moment, so if I seem a bit more neurotic than usual, I apologise in advance. One of our dogs, Leela, she had an operation last Monday to remove an abscess, and on Sunday she started having difficulty walking, and we thought maybe she'd hurt herself, she'd overcompensated on the other leg. So we rang the vets, and to cut a long story short, they told us to give her a paracetamol, make sure she rests, but she got worse throughout the day, and by 7 o'clock that evening she was dragging both her legs. It was one of the worst moments of my life. So we got her into the emergency vets. They've carried out CT scans. She has got something wrong with her spine. She's got ruptured discs, she's got blood clots, and she has got I can't remember the terminology for it, but basically material is pushing itself out between the spine. So she's deteriorated somewhat more, but only in the backs of her legs. So we had to find a veterinary hospital rather than the vets that could carry out an emergency spinal procedure. So yesterday I had to drive, pick her up from the vets, go across county lines to get to this hospital. She's crying in the back. I'm crying while driving on the motorway, as you can imagine. It was just awful. We got there, the vet's trying to get her in a sling to help her to walk, and she just collapsed. So I was absolutely hysterical. The operation is obviously a little bit tricky, but they did the MRI to make sure that they're going in at the right place. So at the moment, we don't know anything. She may not recover because of the nature of the injury. So I'm, as I said, a bit of a state. Those of you that have followed me for years, you know my dogs are my babies. And Leela was our first dog, our first dog, my husband and I. She was the one that wasn't our parents. We didn't grow up with her. So yeah, just so you know, I might be a little bit messy. So if I randomly start welling up over something, you know why, but I'll keep you guys updated. So moving away from the dogs, let's talk about some royal news. Now this story, these three stories are going to centre around a British slang word, which some of you may know, and it's bellend. Now, some people believe it's a terminology to call someone like the end of a man's penis, shall we say. I need my glasses on, my school teacher. But what it also means is annoying, stupid, and contemptible. So we know we've got two ex-royals that fall under that category, and let's be honest, their wives and their ex-wife as well. But my first story does not involve Harry or his uncle Andy. Instead, it involves another type of bellend who decided to heckle the king. On Monday, when the king was visiting Lichfield Cathedral, where thousands of people had turned out to hopefully not just catch a glimpse of the king, but even those lucky ones that might actually get to speak to him and shake his hand. One member of the public who said it was absolutely amazing that he got to meet the king said that he had been waiting in line since 5 a.m. Some people were there waving flags, some people held up photographs and posters, they cheered, and many were shouting, "God save the king," when the king arrived. Then enters said bellend, with his hood up, filming himself as he starts hollering at the king over the top of these people that have been waiting for hours.
How long have you known about Andrew and Epstein? Have you asked the police to cover up for Andrew?
This is someone who uploaded their video, of course, filming themselves, to the Republic website. So he was a plant. You know the people that I mean, the ones waving their little yellow placards, normally with a megaphone. Not my king. Now, I have no problem with people that do not support the monarchy, right? I've got some friends that couldn't care less. I've got some that actually believe that we shouldn't have a royal family anymore. I'm still friends with them. That's their personal decision. So I have no qualms with people that feel that way. I respect it. But what I do not respect is people that say they don't want the monarchy, but then they take the time and the effort to go to places where they don't have to. They're not protesting outside of Parliament. They're not protesting outside the palaces, but they've gone to somewhere outside a cathedral where people that do want to meet the king have queued and waited patiently in the cold, sometimes the rain, and then they try and ruin that moment for other people. Now, of course, the public quickly turned on him. Hats off to this gentleman who grabbed hold of the oik and ripped his hood down. Well, if you're going to stand there and try and ruin the event for other people, at least show your face. As I said, I've got no problem with people having a problem with the monarchy, but don't go to these events and then just try and ruin it and irritate other people. So he definitely wins the category of bell end of the day. Now let's go along to my second bell end, and yes, we're going to go to one of the ex-members, and I say ex-members of the royal family. They're still part of the family, but no longer part of the working monarchy. We have, of course, Prince Andrew, who is in so much shit right now. He's getting it from all sides. The media really are whipping up a frenzy against him. And whilst I do believe, because he's been caught out lying, and there's lots of other scandals that have come to light because of Andrew Lowney's book and the media have got a hold of it, yes, he should have his titles formally taken, as I've said in previous videos. But I do not want to see him in the stocks or worse. I feel like the media are after blood. But a story that's come out, I don't know if it's the media trying to stir up public hatred towards Prince Andrew further, or Prince Andrew is actually that arrogant and entitled that he has actually demanded it. Matt Wilkinson, who writes for The Sun, has come out and said that Prince Andrew has basically dug his heels in about leaving Royal Lodge, but he has agreed as long as he gets a home and Fergie gets a home. Apparently Fergie is after Adelaide Cottage when the Prince and Princess of Wales move out of it, and Andrew will be getting Frogmore. Now Fergie's camp, or rather friends and sources close to the couple, who does this remind you of? As I said, they're cut from the same cloth, have come forward to say that Andrew and Fergie are not making demands. Regarding Fergie wanting Adelaide Cottage, it was, and I quote, an option put forward by the other side. Whether it's still on the table, I don't know. Well, that to me sounds like bullshit then, doesn't it? It sounds like bullshit. We're not still sure if the offer's there. Well, either they offered it to them or they didn't offer it to them. Frogmore for Andrew is perfect. It's a 5-bedroom home with 4 bathrooms. That's enough room for Andrew, for his ex-wife, for his daughters to be able to come stay, to bring the grandchildren at Christmas, and a room and a bathroom for his teddy bear collection if he so wishes. It's also situated in 35 acres of land. 35 acres is roughly 20 normal standard sized football pitches. I think that is more than enough for Andrew. He won't be costing any more money because it's already part of the Windsor estate. I think that that is absolutely ideal. Now, as for Fergie, she's been divorced from Andrew for 30 odd years. Yes, she has lived with him since 2008, which the Queen clearly had no problem of. But she also had a £4 to £5 million home in Belgravia. Now, I learnt yesterday, because people told me on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, that she had in fact sold it last year. So she's pocketed 4.5 million from the sale, but a few people are saying that was actually bought with a trust fund meant for Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie. Okay, so Princesses Eugenie and Beatrice, their net worth is approximately 4 to 5 million, and that's not counting their husband's wealth. I'm pretty certain that they can buy a lovely little annex, or they can have a lovely home for Fergie. But as for Fergie herself, Peter Ford, the entertainment newsreader from Australia, he made a great point. He said that Fergie doesn't dip her hands in her pockets anyway. The whole reason why Fergie is in so much of a mess because of her love and her thirst for freebies. Fergie was given about 800,000 when she divorced Prince Andrew to buy a new home. She has had plenty of freebies. As I said, she's been living with Andrew since 2008. She has made millions off of books. She's got her children's books, plus her own autobiography that she wrote after she divorced Andrew. She has made an awful lot of money. So where the hell has she squandered it all? If she's not really paying for anything, she's been getting freebies off of people. And irrespective of that, That's not the taxpayers' problem. It's not the royal family's problem. She has more than enough money and a lot of friends and a lot of contacts where she could go buy herself a lovely little private home in the countryside, a nice little gated community. I am certain of that. So she even needs to accept that she's going to be Andrew's lodger in a house that most of us could probably only still dream of. As I said, 35 acres. Oh no, let me get my violin out. Or she sucks it up, dips into her own bank account, or takes out a mortgage, God forbid, and she goes and finds another property outside of, obviously, the royal family. But no story is truly complete when the press are talking about Harry and Meghan, or now Andrew and Fergie. We need a Prince William is a villain story. Of course we do. So how is Prince William being portrayed as a villain regarding Andrew and Fergie? Well, apparently he threatened Andrew and Fergie that he would strip the princesses' titles from them. Now, whilst I do not believe this story, because I do not believe that Prince William would be unfair to his cousins, unless of course he's privy to some information that the public are not yet regarding them and perhaps their involvement with their parents. I'm not saying that's true, but perhaps. But the matter of the fact is that since Prince Philip, the Iron Fist as he was known, had retired and since long departed, the royal family needs someone to make tough decisions in that family. They need somebody just like Prince Philip, who, if you remember, was the one that barred Fergie completely. She was allowed to live with Andrew, but she was not invited to anything. If Prince William is being painted as this ruthless person, I keep seeing the word ruthless being thrown around quite a lot regarding him, I don't think the public are going to see it as a negative. I think many of us are going to be cheering Prince William on. I honestly do really respect King Charles and Queen Camilla. I do like them. I'm a monarchist, I'm a royalist, but I do not think that Charles is as tough on his brother and his youngest son as he should be. So if the media want to try and make Prince William out as being a ruthless villain because he's the one apparently forcing Uncle Andrew with threats out of Royal Lodge, and he's apparently the one that wants to strip all of the titles, then I think the public are just going to have more respect for Prince William. I believe, unlike talking about a slimmed down monarchy, Prince William will have a slimmed down monarchy, and I think that's something that the public will wholeheartedly support. Now, speaking of which, we've come to my final bellend story. Harry and Meghan have taken their children to a pumpkin farm or a pumpkin patch over in Montecito. Now, they have done this and taken a photographer with them because no family outing would be complete unless it's given a press release, and of course it's then shared by the usual outlets. But I really do question their choice in releasing these particular sets of photographs. Never before have I seen such a joyless, sterile, miserable family photograph or multiple photographs at a place that is normally filled with laughter and fun. There's normally children playing, clambering over pumpkins, parents chatting and laughing as everybody goes and collects their pumpkins. There's tractor rides, there's all sorts. Yes, we even do that in the UK now. Instead, we get Harry not looking or really interacting with his children, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Then you've got Meghan dragging a cart with their pumpkins in, and her daughter, who looks to be in her pink pajamas yet again. Lily in this photograph looks like she's miserable as she's curled up on that cart. And given the fact that her mother's in a thick coat, her father's in a jumper, perhaps the poor little mite was cold. And another thing that I can't quite get my head around here, and this is not being negative towards children, this is about their parents. The fact that Harry and Meghan demanded their children's birthright, that they be called a prince and a princess, It makes me wonder why, when they present them to the world, which is what they're doing when they post images of the children on social media, these are not private family photographs meant for grandma and grandpa at Christmas. They are uploaded to social media for public consumption, yet she seems to make little to no effort. And considering Meghan is trying to currently gaslight the world that she's into beauty and fashion, she uploads pictures of her getting her hair and makeup done by her own glam squad. You think that she'd be more interested in at least dragging a hairbrush through her daughter's hair if she's presenting her to the world. I'm not saying that the children can't be dressed casually, but these kids are often looking like they're in pajamas and they've just rolled out of bed, and I find it really odd. Now back to the latest publicity stunt to prove to the world what a happy family they are. I have a few things that I want to talk about regarding these pictures. The sky looked grey, it looked cold, it looked miserable, about as cold as these two trying to still pretend that they are loved up. Yes, they're holding hands, but they couldn't be further apart. Harry looks like that he's on his phone. He couldn't be more disinterested, as I said, as their son is walking into the pumpkin patch all on his own, where he looks like he's about to take 15 steps and face the firing squad. So it really does beg the question why Harry and Meghan would release these photographs. It doesn't exactly give me happy family vibes. They look like that they can't stand each other. The children look like that they're utterly miserable. There's no other children running or playing. So clearly Harry and Meghan obviously had the place shut down. Can't have their little prince and princess mixing with the peasants now, after all. But what a isolated life it seems these children lead. And it's something else that's rather bizarre from this little outing that they filmed. They then took the pumpkins back for the adults to carve. The children weren't sitting there, having fun and interacting. Archie is sitting here overlooking Marcus Anderson carve a pumpkin. Good old Marcus Anderson that has been loyal to Meghan, and he's been there every step of the way since their very first dates. Every appearance, every award, every stunt, he's there lurking in the shadows. I honestly wouldn't be shocked at this point if we found out in a few years that Harry, Meghan and Marcus are a throuple. They are a threesome. You can hear the divorce stories now. There were actually 3 of us in this marriage. Highly, highly likely. And the one thing that many people always pick up on when it comes to Meghan and Marcus, she seems far more affectionate with him than she actually does with her own husband, who I'm certain is still sitting in Montecito confused why he can't take the lid off of his pumpkin. I've honestly never seen before anybody pull out the guts of their pumpkin from the bottom. I've only ever seen it cut out the top so you can put the candle in. But I guess with Harry, perhaps he prefers the bottom and it's personal preferences. I'm talking about the pumpkin, people. Sorry. I'm going to get myself in trouble now. On that note, though, I will be back with you guys very soon, hopefully with a really good and positive update regarding Leela. So, yes, on that note, I will see you guys very soon. Take care for now. Bye.